So in the fraction section, there's a question about the LCM or least common multiple. So what we want to do is find the least common multiple of 10, 8, and 20. Remember, when it comes to multiples, what you're doing is multiplying the number by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so forth and so on. So the multiples of 10 would be like 10 times 1 is 10, 10 times 2 is 20, 10 times 3 is 30, 40, 50, and they would keep on going. Multiples of 8 would be 8 times 1 is 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, and they would keep on going. The multiples of 20 would be 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. So the least common multiple would be the smallest multiple they have in common. If you notice here, they don't have a 10 in common. They do have a 20. Notice how 20 is not a multiple of 8, though. 30, no, 40 again is a multiple of 10 and 20, but it's not a, oh, wait a minute. 40 is a multiple of all three of them. So by just listing the multiples, I could find the least common multiple there to be 40. Now, you also can use what's called a prime factorization. So if I do a prime factorization, the prime numbers, remember, are numbers that have exactly two factors. So remember, 2 is a prime number because 1 times 2 is 2. 3 is a prime number because 1 times 3 is 3. 4 is not prime because 1 times 4 is not the only pair of factors. There's also a third factor, which is 2, because 2 times 2 is 4. So a prime number can have exactly two factors. So 4 has 3 factors, so it's not. 5 is prime, 6 is not, 7 is prime, 8 is not, 9 is not, 10 is not, 11 is, 12 is not, 13, and they keep on going as well. So if you put into memory some of the first few prime numbers, that helps us out on a lot of the math. So if I want to do a prime factorization of 10, this is another way to do the problem. So notice how 2 is a factor of 10 and it's prime, and 2 times 5 would give me 10. Now I ask myself, is 5 factorable? Notice how 5 is not, it's a prime number. So the only thing that goes into 5 is itself. So 5 goes into 5 one time. So notice that this left side is my prime factorization because these are prime numbers and they make the 10. So 2 times 5 is a prime factorization for a 10. 4 and 8, notice that 2 is a factor of 8. 2 times 4 would give me 8. But notice that 4 is not a prime number. So we keep on moving. 2 is a factor of 4, so I can take another 2 out. So if I divide a 2 out of a 4, 2 goes into 4 twice. Notice that 2 is prime. And the only thing that goes into 2 is itself. So 2 goes into 2 one time. So notice how I'm kind of using division as a way to break it down into prime factors. So 8 is made up of 2 times 2 times 2. And then we have a 20. So a 20, we have, again, 2 goes into 20 10 times. 2 goes into 10 5 times. But notice how 5 is prime, so 5 goes into 5 one time. So 2 times 2 times 5 would be my prime factorization of that. So when it comes to the least common multiple, the first thing we do is we identify the different factors. Well, 2 is a factor and 5 is a factor. That's the only factors we have. The next thing is we look at the 2's and what's the most number of 2's we saw. Notice that I needed at least 3 2's to make an 8. So I need at least 3 2's or 2 cubed to give me an 8. The 10 only needs 1 5. This doesn't need any 5's. The 20 only needs 1 5. So the most 5's I saw was this 1. So if I multiply that together, 2 cubed would be back to 8. 8 times 5 would get me back to 40. So notice how by doing a prime factorization, I could find that the LCM is 40. So notice how I identified the different factors. 2 and 5 were the different factors. But then I had to ask myself, what was the most number of 2's that I saw? This had 1, this had 3, this had 2. So the most number of 2's was 3, so I needed 2 cubed. And then the 5's, this had one five. This didn't even have any fives, and this just had one five. So the most fives I saw was just one. So if I put that all together, that would give me my least common multiple. Again, you can also put that on the calculator. So you can do 2 and your up arrow here to the third power, bring it down times 5. If I do that math on the calculator, it does give me about 40. So I can use what's called a prime factorization to find the least common multiple as well. So you can either list the multiples or you can do a prime factorization and use that strategy.